Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's time for another Brawl Stars Championship monthly final. This time around, if you've been checking your calendars, it is August. So I'm going to be joined by Ark, and we're going to take you through all the action today.
Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting game. No time to waste. First up for the APAC region, it is going to be Jupiter versus SK Miracle, followed by Jupiter versus B-Boy, and then SK Miracle versus B-Boy.
And then we'll jump over to Europe, Tribe versus Curry Magic Purple, and SK Gaming's going to be following up afterwards in that particular round robin.
Yeah, and a lot of changes in the meta. There's a definite trio of brawlers that are very strong this month. But let's look straight away at the points because two teams had a fantastic month. Both Jupiter and PSG have qualified for the main finals this year.
And that is all of the APAC slots already taken. As you can see, 2 taken, 2 filled. EU, we've got 1 to fill. But across the board, there's still 5 total participants looking for those world final slots as we go into the end stage or the end game of our monthly finals.
Yep, as always, there is big money to earn as well. So although PSG and Jupiter have both qualified in the APAC region, SK Miracle will not be going home empty-handed if they can pull off a good win today. But here we see the players as well. For Jupiter, Ponkotsu, Hagego, Milk Ryu, and Tensai, all looking to make that happen for Jupiter.
And that SK Miracle lineup, formerly known as Apto, they got picked up halfway through the season. They got a tall order against Jupiter today, Ark. This team has been on an absolute manic spree. They've been getting these top finishes in all the monthly finals. They've already secured themselves a world final position. So I think that a lot of the Korean teams in particular have been struggling to keep up with the Japanese region since we merged those two together to accommodate China.
It's such a high standard to live up to, and definitely a lot of pressure being felt, no doubt, from the Korean side of things. But, you know, that's what a competition is. You know, you've got to bring the fire, and you've got to say Jupiter have been one of the most consistent teams throughout this entire competition.
Absolutely, and even before them, we were talking about it before in the in a little bit of rehearsals that, you know, Jupiter is a team who nearly went the entire distance at last year's World Finals, only being really beaten out by Tribe. So they had a great performance last year, and they've carried that strength into the new year.
Yeah, this is exactly it, and again, a bit of pressure there to be felt, no doubt, to make sure they're satisfying the fan expectations for the grand final. But SK Miracle today will definitely be looking to give them a run for their money and go away with you know, being able to hold their head high.
Let's take a look at the bans. You were talking about how 3 dominant picks have really rose to the top, Ark, and 2 of them have been taken off the board. That's Surge and Gale being removed, and I believe the last one that was in this conversation is Mr. P.
Yeah, basically having spoken to the players this week, everyone said Surge, Gale, and Mr. P are the top 3 most dominating brawlers in terms of the meta. Going straight in then to Gem Grab for set 1, Hard Rock Mine, a classic gem grab map up first then.
And we're going to be seeing what these brawlers are going to be rolling out with. Looking at some of the changes that came in from last month in particular, we had some new gadgets unlocked as well. Bo's got his remote detonation now. I wonder if we'll see that today. We saw a lot of Bo play, particularly around his other gadget, Super Totem, so I wonder if we're going to have anything else come into this.
Yeah, new gadgets for me is something that I'm really excited for, and Tripwire definitely seems like a star power, a gadget rather to me that feels really exciting to see how that's going to shape up Bo in particular. We're going to see some Piper straight off the bat, which could cause Ponkotsu some issues there, and already a good snipe there for the early takedown, running that true silver skin as well. You love to see it, Trent.
Yeah, it's just showing off at this point, isn't it, Ulysses? He's already got the kill, he has the skin. He's going to get rid of some of that cover to make it easier to land these shots onto the rest of the team. But Milkreo takes the initiative and moves forward to try and get an aggressive hold. But already having the back away, 628 HP. He's going to need to heal that one up.
Yeah, one thing I've just noticed as well that Woo Hayek is running the Handle with Care star power, so not Revolving Door, and Revolving Door has been actually on for both teams, so an interesting shift in the meta perhaps, because Revolving Door has been the favoured star power, I think it's fair to say, for the majority of this tournament so far since it was introduced and reworked into the game.
And this composition from Jupiter is actually struggling. They are getting gems and they are getting territorial control, but they just keep falling like flies to the pressure of SK Miracle. Wu Hyuk's been able to get so many kills on the right-hand side, and Ulysses is exactly the same. Tonkotsu, he wasn't so tanky and didn't have those perpetual heals coming out from his super. I'd be concerned that he wouldn't be able to retain these gems, but now he's under a lot of pressure. That's the first time he's had to back away from a gem because of damage, and Lil Giant going in to try and deal damage. He's going to get punished for this one by Hagego, and he's still going to keep up with the 7-6 scoreline.
Yeah, a very, very aggressive Carl push there, and actually did drop the gem to give Tonkotsu 7, tying things up then as we go down to the wire here for a countdown, and both teams are looking for it, but I really do like those aggressive Carl plays that we're seeing from Lil Giant early on.
One thing to know as well, Ark, is if one team gets to the countdown 10, the game is not revealed. Oh my god, they're taken out of the back line. SK Miracle! They've just been absolutely demolished by Jupiter. How did they get that kill in?
Yeah, team wipe straight away, and no messing about for Jupiter. A pretty quick turnaround, a bit of a drop of the ball then from SK Miracle, who are now so much on the back foot. I can't see them doing anything about this, and yeah, game one goes to Jupiter.
Okay, so even down to the wire, and then suddenly just Jupiter just explode forward, get control, and seal up the game. What I was going to say before I was so rudely interrupted by those kills, Ark, was that because it was so even, if someone just got to 10 gems, it wouldn't really matter that much. The game wasn't guaranteed win. They weren't going to go super defensive because the spawner could have caught up the difference in that 15-second cooldown anyway. So they would have still been fighting even if one of them hit 10.
Yeah, absolutely. SK Miracle, I think for me, just dropped the ball a little bit. And it's a shame because they were actually doing really, really well until that point in time and putting some good pressure, some really aggressive plays. And yeah, but that's gem grab and Brawl Stars for you in general, that it can just turn like that.
Yeah, incredibly quickly turned around. We're getting ready to jump into our second round of gem grab on Hard Rock Mine. And I feel as though Jupiter kind of got a lucky break there at the end. I don't think it would have been as decisive if SK Miracle hadn't made that mistake. So it does lead me to believe we might see some compositional changes in the next round.
Yeah, I think it's definitely wise to consider it. I mean, you know, gotta say, I do like a bit of Rosa on this map. It's a very good aggressive standpoint.
When don't you want Rosa on the map? I feel like Rosa is the hero that you always say, I want to see more Rosa.
We haven't seen actually too much of her in the meta recently. There's definitely been others sort of, you know, paving the way at the moment. But Rosa is just one of those brawlers where if she gets into position, has her super, it's very difficult to clear her out of that kind of spawn trapped position. So yeah, I think definitely some ideas there on the cards, potential to switch things up just a little bit.
Having a look as we're jumping into our second game, see if I can catch if there's any adaptations. And looks like Jupiter are going to stay on exactly the same thing. SK Miracle, they are also going to stay on similar, but they're going to switch over and bring the Max in instead of the Carl.
Yeah, which is, I think, smart because Hagege was running it last game anyway, and Max is in a pretty good place, but already that takedown, very quick takedown on the right-hand side is going to allow Wu Hyuk to push up into the mid here and put a lot of pressure on McGregor. Goes down there as well, so a great start for SK Miracle.
Yeah, they're getting the kills, but they're not converting them into gems, really, Ark. Tonkotsu's sitting on 3 at the moment. Lil Giant will walk forward, take a lot of aggression, has to burn the super to get out, and not finding max value on destroying the territory with the ability.
Yeah, Lil Giant as well. They're putting some shots out to prevent him from healing, and as a result, under a lot of pressure. And SK Miracle, 150 HP there, just surviving on. SK Miracle are very putting themselves into a very aggressive position here, and it might backfire again, as we saw in that previous game if they're not careful.
Yeah, but one of the things that's going to be a problem for Jupiter right now is that you've got your Max being your gem carrier. That is not good. Yeah, you can escape, but you want Max to be up in the face of the opponents, and it's a risk you might not be prepared to take. Has to dash away. Look at that, immediately taken down. So they're going to have their prayers answered. Lil Giant goes in, tries to scoop up as many as he can, only finding a couple before having to leave, because otherwise he would have just lost all the gems to Tonkotsu.
So many interactions there, and it does seem like quite a daring kind of game here right now. Both teams are putting themselves out on the line here and making a lot of risks, but at the moment, in terms of gems, it's pretty much tied. Actually, just SK Miracle taking the lead there with 2, but anything can still change at this point in time with both teams really kind of going at it here, Trent.
Yeah, if Lil Giant didn't need this super to stay alive, in case of pressure, he would be destroying the blocks on the left-hand side, because that's the only thing that's allowing anyone to move forward right now. Look how much pressure Tonkotsu is under, and Milkreo. Ulysses is going to go on the hunt for this one, I think, and try and take out Hagego. Freed up for Tonkotsu, but they're safely getting behind cover and avoiding the damage as we move closer towards the countdown.
Yeah, but I do like this from Woohyuk on the right-hand side. They're just placing down some pressure, getting SK Miracle onto that all-important countdown, but there can be gems that can spawn from the center, and Jupiter will be able to stop this. Actually, no, a snipe there just took down, and then that's actually going to draw in gems. Jupiter might even get a countdown here if they're lucky.
Yeah, but the countdown's just going to get cancelled out. This is what I was talking about in the last round, Arc, is that they're so close that it's not a decisive victory. You have to get one of these kills on the gem carriers. Ponkotsu's going to deny it. But look, the countdown will start again. There's enough time for Ponkotsu to go ahead and get 2 more gems. They need to hold mid control, otherwise this game is not going to end.
Yeah, Jupiter actually doing a great job putting down some defensive turrets there as well for body blocking, and the Mr. P portals is going to definitely be very relevant here, and some gadget pops potentially from it. The gadget pop does put even more pressure on that left-hand side lane, and down goes the gem.
Oh!
SK Miracle Nagago will go in.
It's over.
Like 7 of them.
He goes in, he does the cleanup duty, he denies the recontest, and now the gem spawner's not going to catch up the gap with 5 seconds remaining. And you can't get Hegego, you can't get Ponkotsu. Jupiter are just going to take map number 1.
Yeah, set 1 then to Jupiter, and that again, that continued pressure eventually got the better of SK Miracle in gem grab. So I'll have to wait and see how the next game mode will fare in terms of whether they'll be able to sort of have a better turnaround in that respect.
Yeah, we'll be finding out what our next map is shortly after these replays. And one of the things that was really strong about this, or particularly about this map, was just it was a war of attrition. It wasn't a bang, it was more like a fizzle. They were just slowly eroding away at each other. But time after time, Nilcreo was finding these crucial picks onto the backline, onto the gem carrier, and opening it up for Jupiter. Look at the damage and the kills in favor of SK Miracle. They had everything they needed. It was just that those 2 instances where Lil Giant was getting caught out on the Piper and killed off, it just cost them both rounds. These were both incredibly winnable rounds for SK Miracle.
Yeah, and actually, Piper versus Pan mid, does favor Piper, especially with some of the new gadgets that we've seen introduced with Piper in particular, and having some very, very good star powers. Having that range advantage can go a really long way. But we might even see it again, actually going to Factory Rush. It's a very open siege map, so I would absolutely expect to see some homemade recipe gadgets for Piper popping out on this particular map coming up next.
Well, yeah, we're going into Factory Rush shortly. We've got 15 seconds left on the time before we do that. Players need a little bit of time to reconvene. So if we see similar, I don't know if we'll see similar composition moving into Factory Rush, but it is definitely similar style. We could be looking at some very beefy siege bots towards the end of this game if they're going to keep up to date with the objectives like they did in the previous map.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jupiter have already displayed that they can kind of maintain a position and control already. So, and can do that as a prolonged period of time, whereas SK Miracle couldn't quite really hold on. So how that will affect things going to Siege, we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, interesting. Now Lil Giant's gone over to the Pound to match Ponkotsu. Ulysses is taking up the Piper role. Lil Giant will go down here, so the bolts going in favor of SK Miracle because Woohyuk's happy to just get in there and get out to make sure they have the lead. So they'll get the level 2 siege bot to kick things off. Very minimal in terms of damage. Let's see if they can convert it into pressure and map control.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as well to see how Mr. P fares in terms of defense. Obviously, he can place down that turret with the porters to distract the siege bots, but it's definitely some challenging brawlers in terms of defense. Mr. P, Piper, very difficult to do and kind of have a solid defense if you're really, really under pressure.
Let's see if they can keep the contest going on. Hegego will need to move around the back, get himself in there with the super, gets in, gets out, unable to grab the box. Little Giant's already there to cap it. They're going to be moving forward, still with the bolt lead, 10 seconds remaining. SK Miracle are really pulling ahead with this one for now. It's on Jupiter to try and turn it around.
7 bolts now in the bag. It's going to be a pretty gnarly defense for Jupiter, and SK Miracle actually looking pretty solid out the gates. They've already broken that defensive wall of brick there as well with the Piper Super. So actually, this could be quite an awkward position for Jupiter to be able to defend here. There's a lot of damage going down here.
Oh, look at that. They're getting them close to 50%. So great lead for SK Miracle. Bolt lead now in favor of Jupiter, so they have to stay on top of this one. They don't get a chance in the last siege. They're not going to be able to manually deal that damage, so they have to win this next siege war.
Yeah, the pressure now really is on Jupiter. Need a push here, and they need to get at least, was it like 47% damage from that push?
47% is what they'll need, Ark. Quick wraps.
Yeah, absolutely. And now look at this on that right-hand side lane. Gego and Ponkotsu really fighting for this vault. They really want every single one to count. It's going to be a level 8. They probably wanted the level 10, but they're going to have to make do with this and make it count.
Right, they're going to throw in a lot of bodies to the siege bot early to slow it down. The respawns will come in time. The Ike's already dealing damage. 47% is the magic number if you are Jupiter. That's how much you need to deal. They're so close to doing it. The siege bot's been taken out. Oh, they need to do 3 more percent. They might be able to get away with this one. They've done it! They've done enough! They did it manually! 1% difference! And Jupiter will walk away with the first round.
My goodness me. It was actually the handle with Care's star power, which I was actually putting down at the beginning of this stream, as Revolving Door has been the more favored one in terms of the pro scene, but handle with Care coming in clutch there, getting that final suitcase to connect, made all the difference for Jupiter.
Incredible that they were able to pull that one off. Like I said, 1% difference is so marginal. I was really concerned. They were still at about 70% HP when the siege bot went down, so I was like, how are they going to do this one?
It was challenging because they hadn't broken that brick wall that defends the siege Ike. That was the thing which SK Miracle had done in their previous pushes, but Jupiter, having had no push, were not really in a position to be able to direct the siege bot directly to the Ike, and it had to therefore, as a result, take a bit of a diversion which delayed the timer effectively.
Well, we're looking to move on to our next attempt at siege bot. At siege at any attempt. I don't think we'll necessarily see adaptations going in, because yet again, it's a very strong start for SK Miracle, just dropping the ball at the last hurdle.
It does seem to be the story that's kind of occurring today a bit more than SK Miracle would like. It's like they're doing great, they're doing fantastic, but they always seem to not maintain that until the end of the game, and that's the whole point, really. You've got to maintain it, and Jupiter doing a fantastic job under all this pressure to actually turn it around at the last minutes.
So we'll see if we'll have any adaptations coming into the compositions. I doubt it. It seems like we might just have Jupiter playing the same comp for the entire day at this rate. To be honest, they have that luxury. They're already through to the World Finals. They could hard tank this if they didn't care about the prize money. Yeah, I doubt they will, though. Prize money is quite important to these guys, and also a little bit of pride as well. You want people worrying about you heading into the World Finals as we get ready for game number 2. No changes from Jupiter, and we'll have a check on SK Miracle in a second.
Yeah, with the bans being, just in case you're just joining the stream right now, Mr. P is in play. It's Gale and Surge, which are the bans. So it makes Max and Mr. P very, very viable in the situation, being two other brawlers that are very strong in the meta, which is why we're probably going to see them in most of these game modes, I would say. But actually, straight off the bat, SK Miracle getting a really, really solid round 2, level 2 siege bot coming in, and 2 bolts, actually 3 now in the bank for the next round. The push will actually, though, be from Jupiter. This a bit of a...
Yeah, Jupiter got away with the first siege bot, and as expected, not really going to do anything from the damage perspective. She's going to give them a lot of pressure in the mid. Piper going to commit her super to get rid of some territories. That's going to make it harder for them to get out of their area now, but it was quite useful to remove the healing station from Ponkotsu.
Yeah, I think it's a really smart play, actually, to use that Piper super as early on as possible before you get kind of spawn trapped. It allows that push back from SK Miracle here to get back into the mid and start to get some bolts banked, but it's a bit more of a closer round now, and we might even see a tie here. Yeah, we could do.
Fingerly close. There's 6 apiece right now. Spawns and mid control definitely in favor. Not getting that last bolt in fast enough, unfortunately, for SK Miracle. So we'll be a tie as we climb up this bolt economy. More of the environment being destroyed. This just empowers Ulysses even more on the Piper.
Yeah, but hitting these great shots as we're seeing here, and now with a bit of a stroke of a turnaround here, SK Miracle are banking bolts very thick and fast, Fred.
Yeah, look at the lead they've extended for themselves. 16 bolts and counting. There's 20 seconds left. We're going to see that level 20 siege bot without doubt.
Yes, we haven't seen it that often, actually, but we are absolutely going to see a level 20 siege
guaranteed at this point. There is nothing Jupiter can do about this one, and this will be the game for SK Miracle. Unless we see some absolutely obscene and disgusting defense from Jupiter, this is in the bag for SK Miracle.
Can you imagine? Look at that red monster running down the center of the field, and I cannot see anything that Jupiter can do, but they're going to try. Let's see what they can make happen.
Bless their cotton socks, Ark, but there's nothing they can do about that one. It is wailing on the Ike, and they're going to clean it up. The game was over as soon as they hit 20, my friend. SK Miracle take their first round of the series.
There you have it. So SK Miracle getting some momentum, getting themselves on the board and tying things up then in Siege, and this is going to go down to the third and final game then.
Yeah, third and final game of Siege. And it was absolutely fantastic for SK Miracle. They were able to get mid control off the back. Despite losing the first Siege to a level 2 Siege bot, they were able to wrestle back control of mid, as you already highlighted. Great recontest potential there by dropping the Piper Supers to clear out the terrain, not letting themselves get boxed into their spawn, and then they found out and just gathered those bolts, built up an economy, and became insurmountable.
Yeah, and for me as well, the star power usage of Snappy sniping there working out so well. Having that ability to continuously rain down shots as Piper on this map is fantastic. You don't need those bushes to use ambush to get that additional damage. You just need consistency and pressure, and that is what we saw from SK Miracle there. Just kind of able to assert themselves back into the middle to dominate that control is a very hard thing to do when you've been recovering from a push. So got to give trumps to SK Miracle on that side, on that last game for sure.
Yeah, definitely not out of this series yet, as we're gearing up for our third round. I don't think we're going to see any composition changes. I think both teams are very happy with what they're playing right now, so I expect to round out at least the set with this comp. I think maybe when we move further down the line, something like Brawl, we might see a different flavor coming out, but for now they're quite content with what they're playing.
Yeah, maybe some tankier brawlers and something more close range, but definitely today the story between these two teams is range, and the Max being such a key component to that as well, to provide that additional speed element to sort of make it harder to land those shots effectively. Definitely a great combination in something like Siege, where you can kind of like zoom into those positions to get a bit of a stronghold when it comes to getting around back into your favor. So yeah, for me, I like the comps. I don't see any changes coming up in this next game.
Yeah, I think they're going to stay exactly the same, and that they are. Pam. Oh wait, hang on a minute. Milcreo's changed up. He's moving over to the Carl.
Of course, Yusrin. Everything I ever say will always change.
Cursed it
when it goes down to it. Yeah, here we go out with the Carl pick. Yeah, for sure on the right hand side.
So they've swapped out the Mr. P in favor of the Carl. There's no Mr. P present whatsoever. They're just going to trade back and forth as it is, but I think Carl's going to give them some more staying power in the mid.
It's an interesting switch, and for me, I think Mr. P here does provide a great value here. So, okay, I mean, well, both teams having steered away from it is going to make it a bit more even, but let's see what happens here as potentially the Piper will break the mid here. It's a pretty good push early on for SK Miracle to obtain.
Yeah, Piper's going to go in. You can see it there. Super, already obtained. So that was the objective they wanted. They didn't care about the Ike health. They wanted to break down the terrain and have a good enough distraction to give Ulysses the confidence to go in there and use that critical super.
Yeah, exactly that. And still, I think this, I do favor the SK Miracle comp. Piper is a great pick. It's just about getting shots to land. And there we see again that great new gadget there. Homemade recipe coming in clutch, and it's definitely making a big difference in those moments where you're under pressure and you need to land those shots to get that control. But still, though, a level 6 coming in, and actually this could go in SK Miracle's favor if they get a good defense. They've got 7 bolts in the bank for the next round. So
yeah, their economy's in a good spot, and they've dealt with this bot quite handedly. Still, 0 damage dealt to the Ikes. They've given up control, and I wonder where Ulysses is. Is he in a position to clear out this healing station from Ponkotsu? I hope he's able to, because otherwise it's going to give him a lot of sticking power to get boxed in. But you see Ulysses walking forward. There you go, super being traded. That should make it easy to give an advantage. But Little Giant's going to go down. Milcreo as well. While this has been going on, Ark, they've not been contesting mid, so that bolt lead they've had has completely been eroded for this last siege.
Yeah, it's completely gone now, and Jupiter have full mid control. The Piper jump back actually went behind the wall, which meant a lot of time to come back around, to come back and contest the mid. And by which point it is already over for me. A level 11 siege bot coming in for Jupiter, and not really much that they're going to have to do to be able to get the win here.
Well, yeah, they just need to deal a single tick of damage to that Ike, and they're going to win. And there you go. It's guaranteed Jupiter will be walking away with this set. as we look towards set number 3. They are getting closer and closer to match point, and there is nothing that SK Miracle can do about that.
Wow, Jupiter really bringing the fire, and as we said earlier, did have a great qualifier against SK Miracle and have been putting continuous pressure on them throughout this tournament. And today it seems so far not too much different. SK Miracle having a good day, but they're just not finalizing it when it matters, and that is costing them today so far.
Yeah, they're running the London Marathon arc, but they're giving up at the 25th mile. They're not able to finally get over the finish line, unfortunately. Taking a look at the damage stats, yet again, it's very consistent with what we saw in Gem Grab. SK Miracle, more kills, more damage, just unable to get the lead when it counts. They even had more bolts as well, but when you think about it, you split that up over the 3 maps, and it's all about the differences rather than the total. But still, stats-wise, this team is performing well, but they're not able to actually convert. Bounty could be our final stop. Heatwave is our map of choice for today.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely right, Trid. We have seen that SK Miracle have had more damage in general across the game mode. So, this is actually the game mode where damage, it does get taken more into account other than the objective. So, actually, this could be the perfect round for SK Miracle to start to bring this back. And they are getting kills, they are getting damage. So, but now they've got the additional pressure of being behind, and that is the one thing that I can see that Jupiter have been able to place upon them going into this this third round.
We're going to jump into it straight away, Ark. This is round number 3, having a look, and finally with some compositional changes coming out. Mr. P, Gene, and Brock for side of Jupiter, and the Sprout making an appearance from Lil Giant.
Yeah, I like these brawlers all around, actually. All of these brawlers are pretty viable on this particular map. So, yeah, Sprout a bit more under control now, but as again, we see there that the photosynthesis star power is definitely still being favored. But handle with care, it seems, has been a bit of a shift for Mr. P today, as I think both teams still playing that star power. Yeah, handle with care, definitely still very much being played. But yeah, good brawler picks all around.
But Ulysses picking up that first kill. He's able to just absolutely demolish Gene on the left-hand side. And Hagego struggling to get his super online right now. If he can get that active, then maybe we can find some quick kills to equalize, because at the time, he's just being kept at bay by the persistent range of Ulysses, who's now got that Rocket Rain online for the next engagement.
Yeah, I do like that lane in favor, I think, there of SK Miracle on that left-hand side for sure. I think that Hagego's going to really struggle with that, especially now that the super is there. And I think that'll be definitely a chance for Ulysses to be looking to land that right now.
Yeah, they're going to push forward, Ponkotsu, and using the super. Great pull onto Ulysses. Has to use the gadgets to get away, but it's not far enough. So they're going to equalize now, 3 stars apiece with 40 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, Ulysses needs to be a bit more assertive with that super and land it earlier. But Hagego had the super and was looking to pull. I think he was waiting for it to be missed effectively before returning fire. But now in the middle, Ponkotsu under the fire, but only one really connects, and he's going to be safe and sound there. 5 stars still in favor of Jupiter. So if anything doesn't change now, it's going to be the first round to Jupiter. But the pressure now on as they get pushed back into the spawn. Can SK Miracle get just a kill in these final seconds?
They need to be so careful, Ark. Hagego has the pull online. He can punish Woohyok, and he's going to go for it and get another kill to extend the lead. This is what I was worried about. Hagego nearly goes down, but even if SK Miracle got that kill, they wouldn't have been able to catch up to the Bounty lead. So Jupiter takes the first round.
Match point then for Jupiter. We've barely started today and they're already on it. SK Miracle, the pressure now must be absolutely just very, very heavily placed onto their shoulders, and they're going to need the reverse sweep now.
Which is a shame, because I don't think the scoreline is reflective of the gameplay necessarily, because we keep talking about the SK Miracle have been playing well. It's just been these very critical mistakes that have been costing them dearly and giving Jupiter the lead. So I gotta say, I'm thoroughly impressed with how SK Miracle have been playing today, because if they just fix these very simple things, they can actually be serious contenders moving forward.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, actually. They've been playing very well, but it's just these very, very small mistakes, normally towards the end of the games under pressure, where they're just... And that's the thing that is, for me, I think the thing that separates a good team from a great team is that just ability to perform under pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to go into our next round of Bounty, and no comp changes. Actually, no, there is going to be comp changes. They are getting rid of the Gene. They've brought in the Sprout to assist them on Jupiter. So despite winning, they weren't really comfortable with what they brought out.
Yeah, or just kind of mixing things up and being spontaneous and
oh no!
Yeah, straight away.
The crossfire on Little Giant, he had nowhere to go on that. Like mid, left, and right lanes all focused fire onto Little Giant and absolutely demolished him.
There we go. Then 2 stars to Jupiter, 1 star to SK Miracle to start things off here, and we'll start to see some supers being cycled here. Geiger putting down the wall in the center of the map just to divert Woohyuk to the left then. Little Giant down a little bit.
I think he was looking to try and isolate, but even still, after the super erodes, he knows he's going to remove the brush, so it makes it a little bit harder for Woohyuk to safely expose himself to deal damage.
Little Giant though has to pop a gadget there just to stay alive. Went down to 1,000 and under pressure had to pop his gadget to get that revitalizing heal there. I think a smart play by him. Milkray popping down the super there, and the Brock gadget to jump away will keep things out of harm's way for SK Miracle, but only 1 star separating them. 1 kill Trid can turn this around very quickly here.
Absolutely, it's just going to swing it in either direction. Hegego's under fire right now. He gets Little Giant and manages to escape. So that gives the lead over to Jupiter. SK Miracle have 35 seconds to equalize this, or they will be taking their first loss of the monthly final.
Yeah, literally 30 seconds is all it is going to be. Little Giant low again, another gadget to stay alive there. But now look at Woohyuk, he's pinched in here with his Mr. P and the gadget pop as well. He's able to survive somehow.
Oh, he just walks out of it. He's so close to going down, but how are they going to get this kill? Everyone's playing so safe. Pankotsu seems to be the next target. He gets away with 800 HP. I'm looking towards any supers they can use. That's the target. They want the 4 stars. They jump in, they get it, but can they get out? They can't. Hegego boxes them in. Pankotsu with the respawns, and Jupiter will walk away with our first series of the day.
Wow, Jupiter absolutely on fire. Only dropping that 1 game of Siege so far today, but SK Miracle just were not able to just keep it together long enough to get a single set in the bag, and fantastic performance so far. I'm really looking forward to seeing whether Jupiter can continue that into the rest of today. And there we go, 20 stars to 8. A pretty dominating performance from Jupiter there, Trid.
Yeah, only 2 kills from SK Miracle across both of the bounty maps. It's not looking good. A lot of their stars were coming from the default ones, but that's all from us for now, Ark. Let's go over to Falcone to take us through to the next series.
Well, what a game to start the weekend, everyone, with Jupiter, who have already qualified for the global finals, annihilating the opposition, really going to show what it is that they've got and how they were able to qualify. Pankotsu is our MVP for the first match of the weekend. And oh my goodness, wham bam, here comes Pam indeed. The first couple of sets in this match, Pankotsu just laid waste to the opposition. Just being stable with Pam, staying in the center of the map, collecting those gems, cleaning up, vacuuming all of the gems up after his opponents were able to get those eliminations. You can see here, Pam just staying alive, keeping that health unit in the center. In Siege, doing very much the same thing, staying alive as much as possible before eventually switching to Bounty and using Mr. P so beautifully, dodging suitcases from the enemy Mr. P while taking him out. It was an incredibly win for this team. Jupiter now have their first win on the board. SK have a loss, but now we're going to be looking at B-Boy for the next couple of matches. How are they going to do against Jupiter? And more importantly, how are they going to do against SK Miracle in this constant quest to get points towards globals? So, the next match is going to be Jupiter. We have got Pankotsu, Hegego, and Milkreo and Tensai up against B-Boy. There we go. Kenji, Achapi, Saipons, and Slippy. Jupiter, the reigning champions of the region. B-Boy have got a tough match ahead. Of course, if Jupiter win this, they win the entire group, and then it does come down to B-Boy against SK Miracle. But Jupiter, the first thing Pankotsu does with his prize money each month, which of course, they're quite used to winning at this point, is ordering some delicious sushi. Yummy. Hegego and Tensai, who are also very food-focused with their prize money, say they will spend it on a big meal with the team. It sounds like they're already celebrating. And honestly, who can blame them after performances like this? Let's take a look at B-Boy and see what they're about. Kenji, Achapi, Saipons, and Slippy. If Kenji wins money, then he's going to buy an airplane. That's a lot of money. That's a lot more. I don't know if. Well, let's see if he actually does that if they win this series.
Thanks very much, Falcone. Looking forward to this next match coming up very shortly. But what a performance so far we've already seen this week from Jupiter. A smash for the Roman god of the sky and thunder. Trid, what's going on, man?
Not a lot other than just absolute continued dominance from Jupiter. One of our teams are already in our world finals, so don't really expect anything less from them. But I was thoroughly surprised by SK Miracle, as I've already mentioned. I think they played quite well. Let's see if B-Boy can topple a god that is now seen to be able to bleed.
Yeah, I mean, bleeding but never dropping a set. It's an incredible performance from Jupiter so far, and I think that even with a little bit of an upset stab here and there, the armor is shaken but still worn strong, and I think they've got a good chance at taking this one, sweeping again with another 3-0. But let's take a look at the bans. We've got Surge and Sprout on screen, Trid.
So it does mean Gale's going to get through the ban. A lot of brawlers have been enjoying playing that one, so probably see some Gale in this next series. Pit Stop's going to be our first stop, Gem Grab being our first map type in the rotation.
All right, without any Sprout in rotation, that's going to make it a little bit easier to contest for those kind of narrow areas in the left and right channels of the map. B-Boy is going to be using a comp here with a little bit more long-range action, fast-paced, in-your-face damage, while it looks like Jupiter is going to be trying to hop right over. Wow. Actually, no, B-Boy makes it all the way to the save and gets a few pop shots off. Daryl rolling straight through for some early damage, Drew.
Yeah, and this is typically what we see on this map type in particular. In this map, they're using the spring platforms to get themselves behind enemy lines to deal as much damage as possible, get the Daryl onto sight, and just start wrecking the safe. And B-Boy's going to escape from this one. Ponkotsu will play cleanup, but they're yet to make a significant dent on B-Boy's safe.
Ponkotsu playing pretty much full-time defense here, just sitting back at his own safe and hoping that Hagego can break through over there on the right side, but forced into kind of a 3v1 almost. He's like having to hide behind the bushes and giving another chance here for B-Boy to pop away at the safe. Sight takes it down below half health now, and there's nothing that Ponkotsu can really do about Kenji except try to push him away. That angle is not working out for him. Barley getting lots of damage on that safe again.
Yeah, Hagego and Ponkotsu trying to clear them out, but they're just letting B-Boy's sight get onto the safe and deal damage. He has to commit the super every time. He's doing a great job of shutting him down, but every time sight goes in, he gets damage, and he's now at 21% HP.
This brawler comp from Jupiter just really relies on getting that team kill and being able to push far in. On the other side, though, Sight can just continue jumping in, and almost every time he gets 10 to 20% damage off the safe, and that'll be it. Just trickling away. The drip drop from B-Boy has turned into a monsoon, washing away Jupiter in this first game.
I honestly think Jupiter just got out-comped there. We've seen time and time again, particularly on this map type, you let the Gene set up, you give them the springboard, and you send a beefier unit who can stick onto the safe. There was no consistent path for Jupiter to get onto B-Boy's safe, and so they just slowly lost the war of attrition. They did manage to catch up more to the end, and their damage was accelerating. They got it down to 21% at the end, I think. But for the most part, they were just waiting for B-Boy to destroy their safe.
Yeah, when your strategy is to counterpunch, you really have to wait until an opportune moment when your opponent pushes really hard into you, team wipe them, then straight back into their own safe. But they never really seemed to do that. It was just one little poke and prod here, tossing a few Barley shots over the wall, sending in a Daryl, jumping over with the spring trap, and just playing a lot more aggressively than Jupiter. B-Boy were well rewarded with the win in the first game. Let's see if we get a comp swap up here from Jupiter, or no, they're pretty much going to go for the same strategy, just hoping to set up in a different manner this time, I suppose.
Yeah, Sight's just going to flex through his skins, though, so he's moving over to a different one now from what he had the previous one. I think that's the only change coming in. As he gets ready to go onto that platform, Hegego's going to do a little bit of good there with the Barley to try and mitigate some of that damage and get Sight off early, but they're actually sending in Atrophy as well, who's going to get that free damage. Ponkotsu hiding behind the safe, trading it out. This time, Jupiter have started to get the lead, Woody, though. They've got about a 4% difference in their favor.
Yeah, but not a very grim lead at all for them.
Who's going to stop Sight?
Yeah, rolling straight through for another one, and a super to go straight out again. That safe is getting cracked early on, and B-Boy are on their path to a 2-0 sweep.
You got to focus. See the thing, Ponkotsu has to go forward to stop Kenji. Hegego's then going to move forward. They have to come back to deal with Sight on the other side of the terrain. B-Boy are pushing and pulling them away, and Jupiter don't know how to react.
Bouncing and springing around like he's Tigger with a trigger finger itching to fire away at that last 10% of the safe. Sight makes another hop in there, takes a shot, but Ponkotsu replies with a big salvo of shots, but I don't think it's going to be enough to save this team. Achapi takes another shot. 36 hit points on the safe Trid.
And here's the final blow. Sight will walk in. Oh, he got shut down! They had a great response to him. They just want to send KG. Oh, there we go. Just gonna land it. It only needed one tap, one tick, and that is going to be B-Boy taking the first map away from Jupiter.
Long range delivery from B-Boy. That shot from Barley. What beautiful service. I hope they give him 5 stars, Drew.
Definitely on whichever mobile app ordering service they use, given the 5-star rating on that one. But yeah, they weren't able to adapt to it. I think you saw the strength of B-Boy's composition when you saw, okay, Kenji's going to stand on the other side of the terrain and just launch damage over the top. Well, we don't have a thrower. We have to go around and deal with him. Okay, we've gone around to deal with him. Oh, well, turn around. Hang on a minute. We left our back door open, and now all of a sudden we've got Sight in our living room with his feet up. It's just we can't do. They couldn't do anything about it. They were just getting thrown around everywhere, trying to deal with the multiple damage threats.
You can really see how the teams were focused in a different manner with that stat line there. Triple the kills for Jupiter's side and like over double the damage dealt, but B-Boy focused solely in on the safe, played to the objective, and got the win easy there against Jupiter, a squad that seemed so dominant, but is going to have a chance to come back now with penalty kick. They played really well in the previous matchup in Brawl Ball, and I'm expecting similar success here. Trid, is now the time for the comeback, or has B-Boy really set the stage properly for their ascendancy here?
I don't think a team like Jupiter would get phased by one loss, so I have a feeling it's definitely still, we got a series ahead of us, and I don't think the B-Boy are just going to roll away with this one. I think Brawl Ball can serve as a good platform for Jupiter to come back into this one, but of course there are no guarantees at the moment, Woody. We have no idea how this is going to pan out.
All right. The stage is set and the ball is ready for kickoff. Teams are moving in. We've got a Bow, a Max, and a Barley up on top for B-Boy. Some solid long-range damage, but swapping out for a little bit more standard mid-range setup here from Ponkotsu and Milcreo, running that Mr. P. Lots of shots over the walls here are going to give him some easy access behind these pillars before they go down. Milcreo taking that magic puffs is going to give a little bit of a survivability edge here for Jupiter as well. And it seems like that's working out well for them, pushing deep now into B-Boy and threatening to control the center.
They're going to zone away everyone from the last call. There's so much Barley damage on the field right now for Kenji to finally get the kill. Going to throw over the super as well. Now they get control of the ball, move around to the left-hand side. They box Ponkotsu and Milcreo. Sight gets pulled in. He's able to bite off more than he can chew, as he will shut him down, and now it's a 3v1. They won't be able to clear out Hegego. They're going to force him away, try and zone him, and they catch the ball just in time to move out, and now B-Boy have to play a little bit further back.
Jupiter got painted into a corner there. It's only off the grace of the Hage God who is able to keep them alive. Catching that ball right before it was going to roll past the finish line. Nice job to Achapi there, but a little bit too late to claim an early lead here for B-Boy. Jupiter have pushed back out. I think that left side really is their weak spot. Ken is working that area hard, and with the area denial from those shots, Barley is able to really effectively even play not just on parity at the 1v1, but maybe even pushing back into the center now with the 1v2, knocking down Milcreo.
Oh no, Milcreo! There was nothing he could do. He got stunned up by the traps, and then has a giant pie thrown at him to damage him and finish him off. So struggling to get out of that one, and now the rest of Jupiter, they had a slight man advantage, and they're pushing forward with the ball, but the ball hasn't really left the midfield ever since that initial rush from B-Boy.
It's an opportunity now for Jupiter to make their way in. 30 seconds left before all the walls come tumbling down to this Brawl Ball game, and the advantage right now is with Jupiter, possession on their side, and B-Boy are just spread out really far. Sight tried to take advantage of Hagego sliding in there with a gadget a little while ago, but not rewarded. Hagego is playing really heads up here, pushing back Kenji now in the mirror match, and should be able to knock him out with that super. No, misses him, but still is able to get the finishing blow. Still, B-Boy have been able to reclaim possession, and that could frustrate Jupiter's attempts to make the shot happen here.
But there's no supers online for B-Boy. They're not going to have these long-range passes available, but that's a different story for Jupiter. They can get a kill here without burning a super. They have an open shot on goal from afar, so that's something B-Boy really be conscious of in these final seconds of play.
A beautiful, amazing amount of damage dished out by Jupiter, but Sight is going to be right where he needs to be. Heads up play, tosses the ball forward with a dash of his gadget. He'll make it all the way to the enemy line. A shot from Achapi can't quite make it in, Trid.
And now they're going to move forward on the counterattack. Like we said, they've got those supers online. They can get a kill. Pass it over to Milcreo. He can take a super shot potentially. They need to find the damage. Hagego. Going down. He's not going to.
He's not looking good either. Sight's finished off. Milcreo for the pass. Ponkatsu, can he get it?
Ponkatsu's going to open it back up, and no, Milcreo has to take a shot on goal. They were just going to erode each other, but once again came down to the wire. But finally, Jupiter get that goal they needed, and will take the first game of Brawl Ball.
Just remember how close that goal was going in from earlier from Achapi. Just takes a shot with inches away. Tiny little advantage there, able to keep Jupiter alive long enough for a deep overtime score. Jupiter got the win there, but it was not decisive by any means. I could certainly see B-Boy coming back and bouncing in another one after that, Trid.
Oh, absolutely. Down to the wire. 8 seconds remaining in overtime with only 1 goal scored, and even then, that was questionable whether that was going to succeed or not. Until, obviously, right at the end, we had an open goal. Of course, it was going to go in, but very questionable about whether they'd win that engagement.
The thrower damage from those Barleys on both teams, I think, is what really set the pace for that entire match. There was a lot of area denial, not very easy stepping around, so much toxic waste on the ground the whole time. I think that is going to continue to be the story of this match if we do see Barleys once again for both teams. They were really oppressive in the early stage and even down into the late stage when there were no more obstacles. It was still really hard to path around them with so many shots going off. You step into that Barley wake one single time, and that could be the end of your push, Trid.
Yeah, we're waiting to see if we can jump into that next round. Any adaptations coming in? Will we see more Barleys throwing everything around? Not for Jupiter, as they bring in the Gale as a replacement.
Yeah, interesting swap out here. That's going to rely more on that upfront damage. They'll expect it to play a bit more aggressively now because they won't have those long-range shots that they were relying on so heavily last time. They get an early trade here. Gene's going down, and that's going to give a little bit more of uncertainty into the middle of the arena. A dominating position, though, set up here by Jupiter now with that double kill. Trying to force back B-Boy, but Achapi's not going to have any of it. Stabs right into the gut of this space and starts firing away.
Now looking to take control of the middle. Milcreo has got his magic hand online. Achapi could be a victim, although he's looking to do something similar as well. Spencer online, going to get some of the porters on the field as the rest of B-Boy will move forward. They take out Ponkatsu, so they've got the man advantage for the time being. Achapi actually missing that magic hand to try and make it a 3v1, so we'll slow down the momentum a little bit.
Great job by Kenji there, just painting Ponkatsu into a corner. You saw him being forced all the way down to the bottom of the map, and that is exactly what you got to do when you're playing as Barley. You are all about field control and denying easy access to return fire. Ponkatsu not having any of it. Once again, shut down there by Kenji, and Barley is going wild, tossing all these pies around the whole of the map, and that shot is good! Achapi scores!
Sight boosted him on the max around the corner, and while that was happening, Kenji was locking Milcreo and Hagego in the back to the left. They couldn't get in there to defend, they just ran it straight past.
Excellent job to B-Boy there. I gotta say, Kenji is...
It's gonna happen again? Oh!
He's going in for another one. Nice shot there from Hagego. Is able to push them back out, repelling with just barely enough force to stay alive. Jupiter are really down to the wire now, Trid.
Got 40 seconds remaining. They can still make something work. Ball possession and map control for the time being. There's the speed boost from Sight to move Atropy into position. He could end it all with a hook at the right time. They're going to go on the aggression. Sight is forcing away Hagego. Atropy's there. He needs to get that super online. There's the speed boost for Atropy. He's going to do the exact same thing. Pass off the back wall, but Hagego shuts it down with a super. Sight moves into position with the gadget, but it's not enough. Ponkotsu will retain control. 15 seconds remaining.
So close to getting it in again right there. B-Boy are saying that the best defense is a good offense, just sending it right to the goal line again, and Jupiter are not going to have enough time to set up again. Sight's done it, able to kick it back off the wall, and Jupiter cannot regain possession. B-Boy will take game number 2 and tie this set up.
So we're guaranteed to have at least one more round of Brawl Ball to decide who goes towards another set win. This time around, B-Boy, the Max Gene, just really utilizing the super from Max to be able to run in behind and get to advantageous positions. They nearly had goal number 2, but Hagego, see that catches the ball as passes and supers straight away to get it back out of the reach of that goal and try and have some semblance of a counterattack.
A really tip-top play there from B-Boy. I think Jupiter suffered from swapping out Barley, a brawler who got lots of value in the midfield, and especially the early game there. B-Boy taking advantage of Ponkotsu on the bottom side and not letting him out of that spawn zone several times. Just oppressive area of effect damage dished out there by that mad robot. And I don't know if you've seen the new Barley animation. It's really funny, though. Just echoes everything I just saw in the game there. When he goes on a rampage, he's super hard to stop.
Yeah, well, hopefully there's a little solution to shut him down. Maybe an off switch hidden somewhere around him to try and get that to stop that from happening. We're looking towards our third and potentially final map of Brawl Ball, and we're going to jump into that right away, looking for any compositional changes. Will they go back to Barley? That's a question on my mind. They are, in fact, going to do that. So they've removed the Gale. They've gone back to their original comp. You get your wish, Woody. Barley's back on the field.
And I'm happy to see him. I think that that's got an even-Steven chance for both of these teams to emerge victorious in set number 2. Hagego and Kenji are really having a massive duel over on the left lane, but Hagego, I think, has got a slightly better position here now. He's playing a little bit more defensively and has some more area to walk around. As soon as Kenji gets the upper hand, he runs straight into that wall out the left side and finds difficulty advancing any further. Hagego, forced into an awkward spot here, is going to have to drop his super to deny access to the B-Boy squad and buy a little more time for his team, but Jupiter is not looking strong so far, Trid.
No, they've been locked in the corner. This is the same thing we saw in the previous game. There's the speed boost from Max. Sight looking for a pass, a catch.
Oh, it's
Chappie will squeeze it in as he catches it. Once again, there's just the go button of the Max Super, and B-Boy use it perfectly to find these windows to get the goals.
Super fast speed, and you can't catch up against a Max supered up like that. Sight is going to take it right straight back to him again. A double kill. Hagego goes down. That's going to be a Trid. A pushback from the Milcreo gadget, but it's not enough to deny B-Boy 2 in a row. They've taken set number 2 as well.
What a way to close it out, and we got to start asking ourselves, was it Jupiter underperforming in map number 1, or a B-Boy just this good when it comes around to the monthly final, Woody? They've now got themselves in a position where they are 2-0 in a series against Jupiter. That is not something I was expecting to see today.
Incredible job from B-Boy so far. They've done well in the past, but they have really just flipped the whole script this time. Jupiter, an Ascendant squad in the APAC region at the very top of the leaderboards, is struggling now against a B-Boy team that has turned it up to 11, 2 sets in a row off the Roman God of War. The B-Boys are dancing, and they're ready to make that march into the third set and finish this thing off nice and quick, Trid. It's going to be a double swoosh game.
Double swoosh coming in, and we typically see on this map a lot of Tara, a lot of Bo, a little bit of Mr. P last time as well, trying to get over some of those obstacles. So it's a nice few different directions we can see these comps go in that we haven't seen on the broadcast so far.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of bush play on this map. Really forces brawlers that can see past those bushes or at least apply a lot of long-range splash damage into them. Brawlers like Mr. P play really well here because even if you don't know exactly where your opponents are, if you can bounce that briefcase over the walls and into the bushes, you get a pretty good idea about what you're up against. It's all about grabbing those gems, though, and getting up to 10 early on. A gadget use there from sight is going to give B-Boy a chance to identify where their enemies are at. Kenji is pushing deep into the bush, but he's got a 2-on-1, and he's going to be forced to retreat here, Trid.
Yeah, both teams have used one of those charges of the gadget. Hagego getting that second charge in to reveal where everyone's hiding. Give Milcreo the confidence to move forward to grab some of these gems, but that last one he just grabbed was easy. It's right outside his door thanks to the spawn RNG.
An early lead here can really avalanche into a big victory later on, and B-Boy have gotten that lead just like they've been planning. Nice use of the gadgets there from sight, and all three brawlers still up on B-Boy's side of the field. Oppressive fire raining down on them from both angles, and in the center, Achapi looks undisturbed. Up to 6 gems now, looking for a 7th. If he can get that one in the middle, no, it's going to give it up to Milcreo, but still, that's a big lead for B-Boy.
Yeah, just wants to get himself, play it safe. You know, you're under no pressure. If you go for a gem and get punished and lose them all, then it's not worth it at all. Just waiting slowly to get some resources online to try and push this back. The now forward position is being held from Jupiter. They said they want to do it as safe as possible, as to not risk Achapi's gems. But there's gravity coming in from Hagego, so they're not going to be able to push forward, and they're pushed even further away. This is where Jupiter can extend their lead.
Yeah, a chance down to make the comeback happen. Hagego can get a lot of damage in at the short range, and he's been able to pulverize Kenji out on the left side, even with a really nice super setup, busting down some of those bushes. Kenji hasn't been able to keep pace just yet. Achapi going down was another chance there for Jupiter to strike back, but instead, they've chosen to play the slow game, just trickling up that gem count up to 10 now, and with the countdown started, they've got to go all in against Milcreo, or Jupiter will get this first game.
Too late, Woody. They've lost the gems as well. They knew exactly what was going to have to. They knew that Jupiter had the advantage. Hagego just waited for Achapi to make a mistake because the spawner wasn't going to give them a way back into this game. Punishes him immediately, picks up the gems, disappears into the night like the bandit he is, and gives Jupiter a much-needed game win.
That is the Jupiter that we've come to expect from so many games in the past. Really sneaky moves there from Hagego. I think he was the MVP of that last game for sure. Shutting down Kenji multiple times and then stealing the gems at the very end. Very dangerous close range action from that tower, and using the gadget exactly when Jupiter needed it most. Falling behind in the early game, but mid and late game were theirs to claim, and claim it they did.
Well, let's jump into our next game. We're going ahead of schedule with this one. The teams just want to get into it. No comp changes coming in for either team, so it's all about execution if you're B-Boy and Jupiter.
Thinking to finish things off the same way that they started. Milcreo is going to get a couple of early gems here. B-Boy struggling to regain that confidence and push into a middle that seems really dicey so far. Sight playing super aggressively, and so is Achapi, moving deep into the bushes on their enemy side of the field now and trying to get a few shots off here. Pankatsu playing very defensively and not able to land the shots against Sight. He's hiding right on the very edge there, playing aggressively, and wow, B-Boy is rewarded for it, Trid.
Yeah, look at the gem lead they're starting to pull away with. They've got all the space as well. Now Jupiter needs to go on the offense to try and resemble some kind of control. Hagego's going to step over those mines, get deleted by the new gadget from Achapi, putting that to work and guaranteeing a kill there.
Epic drop there from Pankatsu, going to reclaim mid-control for Jupiter. Excellent super, but Sight is not going to give up that easily, buying a little bit more time for Kenji to grab a couple more gems here. He's moving back into the center now, and Jupiter are really having to push hard against a squad that's almost up at 10 already.
8 gems. That definitely means if Kenji can get those last 2, then he's going to be in a position where they have to fight and he can't escape. There's another remote detonation for Achapi. They just need to get one more gem, and they're happy to wait for the spawner to give it. Time is ticking, and where is the answer from Jupiter?
Kenji has got it, going deep back and with pockets to spare, dumps out the last remaining Robo Porter, and there's no threat remaining on the board. Hagego dominated on the left by Achapi, and B-Boy have easily taken game number 2, tying up this set and putting it to match point now, Trid.
Absolutely, Woody. Match point for B-Boy. One more game will give them the series, and make sure that Jupiter's scoreline from this final finishes on a mediocre 1-1, and it does open up B-Boy to go ahead and take that final game against SK Miracle and finish in first place for this monthly final.
Yeah, you know, we're seeing the wrap up now. We're on the downhill for this Brawl Stars Championship. And with the ascendancy of Jupiter, we get to the point where the storyline seems to play out for itself, that you expect that the dominant team in first place, having won multiple months in past, will be able to continue to do so going into the future. But it really is a game that can shake up very quickly. Even gods can be killed. And with one more chance here, now B-Boy might be the squad to do it.
Absolutely. It is a shame that we've already decided we've grabbed ourselves Jupiter, picked them up, we've grabbed PSG, we put them in the box, we've wrapped it up, tied it in a nice little bow, and we're shipping it to the World Finals already. Because B-Boy have really come into their own, especially in this monthly final. And even if they can't make it to the world stage, they can continue in these monthly finals, get prize money, and prove themselves contenders for what I hope will be a 2021 year of Brawl Stars esports.
Optimistic, and I think well-placed optimism there, Trib. But taking a look here now, we see, again, the same setup from both of these teams, looking relatively confident in what they've been bringing in the past. Agego playing Tara out on the left side is going to be the main player to watch for this game, dropping that gadget early on, but really it's kind of a defensive one, trying to push back up against a B-Boy squad that has remained aggressive the entire set so far.
Yeah, and Jupiter taking that early aggression. They're forcing B-Boy away and getting that early lead. Agego needs to be careful, taking a lot of attention on the left-hand side. Kenji trying to cut him off. He's going aggressive, but now he's trapped in a back. Hatchapi will go ahead and get that kill. So Milcreo has to back off, and finally B-Boy can start looking at getting some gems on the board.
I think that was a strategic misstep from B-Boy. A double kill and zero push from them at all. They've only got one gem, and Milcreo was sitting there alone in the bushes. They could have gotten a big lead, at least in field control. I think B-Boy just missed a big opportunity, Truth.
I couldn't agree more, Woody. They've not really gained control of this one. They need to get kills. Now they've got some. Let's get a conversion in here. Let's try and get some pressure. But they just gave the gems to Ponkotsu. They let him walk forward, and now they have to go on a full offensive with a full-strength Jupiter.
It's like you busted into the jewelry store, and just as soon as you get a chance to steal the whole lot, you walk away with nothing. You get a little bit scared and you're shaken. Jupiter have gotten a win here, even though they were, I'm pretty sure, behind in damage dealt and brawler kills. B-Boy not capitalizing on that opportunity, and Jupiter are going to stay in the race. Now 1-2 on the set score overall. B-Boy still have the lead, but wow, I thought it was all over there, True.
Yeah, just B-Boy had the momentum. They were getting the picks. They were just unable to capitalize, and now they've opened up the door for Jupiter to walk through and try and claim themselves a reverse sweep of some description. Looking at the overall damage across the board, Jupiter, over the course of the set, were able to deal more, and the kills are even in this regard. But I think, in particular, you know, B-Boy had the more dominant individual games when they were winning.
Yeah, I think that this is actually a bit of an upset in the third set. I think it's been upsets in pretty much every set so far. I figured Jupiter was going to start strong, but having dropped early, I thought that they were on a downward trajectory. But picking up set number 3, now they still have got a little bit of breathing room, and they're going to stuff their face with some layer cake in set number 4. I think that they play really well in downy game modes, and this might be the beginning of a reverse sweep now, Trud.
One can only hope if you're a Jupiter fan. You need to go over to layer cake, find a way to get those kills. Typically going to see a lot of Piper, I imagine, some Brock, maybe some even Tick when we come around to this one. Yeah. Typically what we see on layer cake, but Tick's always like the wild card. He's not consistently played as much as Piper and Brock are found to be on this map.
Yeah, a lot of times we do get those long-range brawlers. Sometimes, though, we get a little bit of a mix-up and see some close-range action with teams looking to apply pressure. Jackie is sometimes a favorite in that role, so let's see what they do decide to go for here. No, it's going to be that long-range, decisive, big, heavy damage from afar. This time it's going to be B-Boy actually choosing to go with that tick pick, and double golden Pipers for both teams as well.
But the thing about Jupiter is they brought Gale to the party, Woody, and it means that they're able to get to the mid earlier than B-Boy and claim that first star. So it may only be one, but they do have an early lead over B-Boy at present.
Yeah, it's not worth as much as a kill, but you get a big momentum gain early on and really put your opponent's feet to the fire. B-Boy playing very aggressively in characteristic fashion now and rewarded for it, knocking down Ponkotsu. Nice double team there from Piper and Tick, able to paint him into a corner and keep him away from the safe line on the backside. Ponkatsu going down is going to be even more difficult to push now into a Kenji who's just firing away round after round.
He needs Higego to be able to walk forward and try and cut down these angles that Kenji has, because they're not going anywhere. They're trapped in their own spawn right now, unable to do anything. They could go for an aggressive spring platform or spring trap to get themselves over and try and behind this line, but at the moment they're just trapped.
Yeah, maximum mathematical value from Trigonometry. Kenji is finally forced back, getting pretty relatively little support from Sight or Achapi, but you know what? They don't need to play very aggressively on the right side as long as they can keep that midfield held even. B-Boy will be able to push their slim one-star lead. Ponkatsu in a bit of a trouble there, but forced back. He will play it safe, and on defense, he's moving in to hold on for another 19 seconds now. Milcreo gets really low. Could that be?
They need to walk forward. They got 15 seconds remaining, and they're trying to go in. Higego will destroy some territory, come back with the super. That's aggressive from Milcreo, trying to find a kill, but he's going to be punished for it. And Achapi will just guarantee B-Boy the first map win in that round. I do not blame Milcreo for trying that. Jupiter in a hard spot. It was an aggressive and risky thing to do, but it just got shut down by B-Boy.
It is so terrifyingly difficult to rally the forces when you're down like that, especially in a map where you've got so much open area in the mid and devastating long-range damage dished out for the entirety of that game by B-Boy. Great job to them, well-deserved win. But
that's not Trid.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Mr. Falcone. How are you? I didn't realize I got so handsome recently.
Yeah, nice hair there.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, it's a similar color to what my hair is. We'll come back, and now it's decided that I'm too beautiful. But focusing on the game itself, Woody, we're now at match point for B-Boy. Similar story we saw in our last round, but Jupiter managed to come back at the last hurdle. We're looking for him to dig deep, find that world finalist grit that we're hoping to see more of as the tournament persists, to come out here and continue their path towards a reverse sweep.
Yeah, here's the chance to make it happen. Good luck to you, B-Boy. I think you've earned your spot here and have done an amazing job so far with it. You know, they're going to have another match coming up after this one against SK Miracle. So if past is prelude, expect to see them do just as much damage in the next round and potentially pick up with the region win here. B-Boy trying their best, and I think that they've got a lot on their minds right now, Trid. But that next game win is all that they really can afford to focus on. When you get so far against a dominant team like this, the nerves can start to get to you. You feel like the win is inevitable, and it's hard to maintain that momentum. So if they can finish it off here and now, I think that's what they really want. They don't want to see a repeat of set number 3, where it seemed so much like they were far and ahead, but not able to just deliver that final blow.
So we're going to need to look at getting into that next map. A lot of time being stalled right now. Imagine Jupiter realizing and identifying this is the last chance and the last kind of potential map of the monthly final for this time around, taking a little bit extra to prepare. That's absolutely fine. But now we're ready to jump into game. We're going to go into our second map of Layer Cake, and Ponkatsu is coming in on the tick this time as well.
Yeah, gonna keep that long-range action going. I think Tick worked really well for B-Boy last game, and it was a good decision here from Ponkatsu to try to return fire. They need that long-range, over-the-wall type of damage, and so far we haven't seen it from them yet. Kenji pushing deep into enemy territory once again, having to use that gadget to get out, but wow, a perfect drop, gets another early kill here, and B-Boy are in the driver's seat on that path to victory once again.
They've never left the driver's seat, Woody. They've been sat down, they got their booster seat, they've gone ahead and adjusted all the settings in the windows, they're comfy, they're ready to drive. And there is nothing that Jupiter can do to try and wrestle control right now. They're getting a few shots on there. Beautiful shot by Higego to try and curve the bullet round and get that kill to get an early lead. And now we're going to see B-Boy have to go on the assault.
shut up and shut down, but Jupiter will not be denied. Their last chance at glory, a finishing blow there puts them ahead once again, 3-2 stars overall on that scoreline. Thanks to that early start that they grabbed from the center there. Hagego and Kenji both holding on to 3 stars and giving up a potentially game-saving victory. If either team can get the kill on those brawlers, they're going to have to play a bit more defensively and watch out for those Piper shots. Super long-range damage, hard to avoid, but just one little box separating Hagego from death. He's going to be able to retreat this time and save his skin.
They're zoning him away with the tick grenades, but territory being taken by B-Boy. This is something that Jupiter wasn't able to do, and the crossfire's there to find Milcreo. 15 seconds remaining. Jupiter have to go on the hunt.
Here they go, Milcreo jumping straight into the action, drops a super and fires away a massive salvo at sight, but he's not going to have any of it. Figures out one last chance at glory and sends the damage in. B-Boy have done it! Takes the 4th set and with it a 3-1 victory over Jupiter.
Grabbing themselves a great start to their monthly final campaign. It means Jupiter's scoreline will be guaranteed to be 1 win, 1 loss for this month. That opens up the first place slot for B-Boy to nicely and snugly fit into.
Yeah, and we get that awkward position now where Jupiter are going to be cheering for their former opponents, hoping that B-Boy can be knocked down a peg to get a 1-1 scoreline for all 3 teams and possibly force a tied match. Not quite sure how that would play out, so fingers crossed for team fans of B-Boy to hope that they can just walk away with a 2-0 set win, but SK Miracle is going to be looking to make a stab back soon, Falcone.
They are indeed. That was unexpected, at least from where I was sitting. After SK Miracle got so destroyed by Jupiter, I honestly thought Jupiter were going to tear their way through this. But either way, B-Boy is going to take it down, and our MVP is going to be Sight Pons, or Sight Eye, as you'll have seen in game. In Heist with Darrow, he just glued himself to that enemy safe, dealing the damage, sneaking away, drip dropping that damage in across the whole game. There was some very aggressive playstyles there, comboed with the jump pad, and you can just see happening over and over again. Later in Brawl Ball as Max, Sight really took advantage of that super, sneaking himself and his teammates around the opposition, getting some really filthy goals before finally brute forcing that last goal in. And then lastly in Bounty as Brock, he got those key hits in, dealt that key damage, and finally ended that last game with that last elimination on Gale, taking the opposition down. Huge congratulations to B-Boy. Let's take a look at what that means for this group. And as our casters just said, this is a pretty weird situation now. If Miracle win this, then all of the teams will end with that 1-1 match score, but it's going to come down to set score. There was a 3-0 with Jupiter up against SK Miracle, so B-Boy actually really want to be winning this one, or if they lose, they want to get those set points in. It's pretty important. But here is the final match of the group. SK Miracle, Moding, Weok, Lil Giant, and Ulysses up against B-Boy, Kenji, Achapi, Sight, Ponce, and Slippy. It's gonna be an intense match. These are the 2 teams that have not yet qualified. Who knows? Maybe these deciding points could be found today. Let's talk about the teams. First up, we have SK Miracle. When Lil Giant was asked what his strategy for the finals are, he replied, "You'll see." I really like where that's going. Each member of SK Miracle claimed that B-Boy were the strongest team in Asia. Except for Ulysses, who actually said, no, we're the best. Well, I guess we're going to put that to the test. They've lost to the other team. Let's see if B-Boy take them down as well. Here's B-Boy. Achapi's superpower is that he has a very good memory. I'm sure that helps a lot with researching enemy comps and knowing exactly what to expect from the other team. When asked what their strategies are for this monthly finals, Achapi said effort, Sight Eye said, I'll do my best, Kenji said practice, and Slippy said, my teammates are going to carry me. Well, let's see that in action in the next match.
Thank you very much, Falcone. Yeah, a great performance then from B-Boy, and they're looking today to bring home that money. How did you find those games, Woody?
Oh, I loved them. But once again, we're going to have Surge banned out of action. So I know my big robot pal is not going to have a chance to come storming in here once again, Ark. But having looked at that scoreline again, it looks like because they got a 3-0 set line for their victory, Jupiter are actually going to be in a slightly better position than B-Boy off of that one and only win that they've gotten so far. B-Boy picking up the victory in match number 2 rather, does give them a chance to strike gold here in this match against SK Miracle. A win here would guarantee victory for them in the region overall. But a win for B-Boy, a win for SK Miracle would be a chance to make the comeback happen. Depending upon what that set score is, they could even stand to do better than Jupiter did.
Yeah, potentially so. Yeah, it's a shame though, like the Surge has not been seen yet. We're still waiting today. If you're just joining the stream, to see our first sign of Surge on the competitive scene, but not going to happen in these games. And Gale as well is out. So making way for some interesting brawler choices. We're going to see Woohyuk playing Mortis as well. I wonder whether he'll be running Survival Shovel, that new gadget, as well, as we've already seen some tripwire gadget uses from Bo already today.
Yeah, back on the topic of Surge, I guess the best Surge protector for either of these teams has just been to ban him out and not trying to outplay him. But either way, it looks like they are well prepared for the action that they're going up against right now. B-Boy having a lot of trouble facing off against an SK Miracle team that has just been slicing and dicing their way to victory. I'm really excited to see Woohyuk playing this Mortis, making his way deep in there and getting an early kill. He has got happy feet, Ark.
Yeah, definitely, and going very aggressively already. Mortis is definitely in a good place. I feel like he might even get a nerf soon. I'm seeing him increasingly on ladder, and it's a very annoying brawler to deal with, especially on Brawl. But it's actually going to be SK Miracle that are a bit on the back foot now, as B-Boy are advancing the pop of the Super From site there as well, giving that speed boost, but not going to avail too much, as actually side takes quite a lot of damage as Loading gets pulled in and taken down quickly.
Excellent job there to Slippy, and a chance now for B-Boy to score. If only they can get that ball back in fast enough. Lil Giant playing well on defense, and it looks like B-Boy have missed the opportunity that they might have given themselves there. Yeah, Mortis is a really interesting pick here. In an ideal circumstance, if he sneaks behind enemy lines, he can get a massive amount of damage off. He really disrupts the enemy team's setup, but if he doesn't get a chance to stab in there, he winds up being a relatively low-value brawler, as just only able to deal damage close range. He's got to get that perfect setup or it's worth nothing. B-Boy have done it, dismantling the defense and knocking SK Miracle down a peg. They get that first goal, Ark.
Yeah, one on the board for B-Boy, and yeah, it's now up to SK Miracle to be able to push back here, and with shots from Moding, he's popped the gadget. This should be a lock-on then if he's he's already been shown to be running homemade recipe here today so far, so he does need to hit these shots. There's not much time left on the clock. 15 seconds now to push up for SK Miracle, but they can do it. The pressure is going to be on, though.
Really trying their best to get this last chance at a goal, and here they go, charging straight in. Woohyuk gets a kill, but it's not going to be enough. Moding has been denied and pushed back. Excellent covering fire there from Acha P will get them the win in game number 1.
B-Boy off to a great start. I definitely feel like the comp there was definitely not really in favor of SK Miracle. It could have worked out, but it would require a lot of consistent Piper hits and a lot of continuous pressure, which they never really seemed able to really start to get that momentum going, and found themselves a lot of the time on the back foot in a defensive position. So a great start for B-Boy then in this battle between SK Miracle.
Yeah, I think SK Miracle were actually really lacking the survivability that they needed to stay alive against an enemy team that had lots of different ways to get long-range fire in there, especially if Slippy gets a grab on you. That gene pull can deal a ton of damage in a very short amount of time while you are immobilized and on the way in. So that 3-2 brawler advantage is enough often to grab a goal. That's what we saw from B-Boy in game number 1, and I think that you're right that it was not really a great comp pick there from SK Miracle. Maybe hoping for something different from B-Boy to justify that Mortis pick. But dragging my man Mortis's win rate down, I don't know how they can defend themselves this time.
What a way to kick Mortis when he's already down, right? But
Right.
I've got to say, for me, I think the Pam pick there is where, for me, the comp thrives. And having that healing station is always problematic for a Piper. You've got to hit a lot of shots to get it taken down, and Snappy sniping can help with that. But still, I think matching, and they are actually going to match the Pam as well. That would be, yeah, what I would say would be a good turnaround, and still going to maintain the Mortis, which can be good if you can kind of waste the gadget uses of the Gene there. And already going into a double takedown early on from Woohyuk. That's a great start for SK Miracle.
Double kill for SK Miracle, but what can they do to keep it going? Lil Giant, I think, playing as Pam is a great swap here for SK Miracle, exactly what they need to give them that survivability bonus. And with that healing turret set up right on the enemy goal line, they might be pushing in for the first shot on goal.
Yeah, pop out the super by Murding as well, but forcing some speed, but not quite able to make it count. And now actually people might have a chance to push if they can just dodge some shots here. And as quickly as that, the ball is centered and that push is over for SK Miracle.
As soon as it began, it was just ended. Nice job there on defense by B-Boy. Grabbing possession of the ball was a crucial decision in that moment that sacrificed a little bit of damage, but gained in a massive positional step up. Now to a bit of a weird spot here from Woohyuk, who's trying his best to get deep into the enemy base, but can't find a spot to take a shot over at sight, who's fast pace speed has been really difficult for Mortis to overcome. He's instead having to focus solely on that Gene.
Yeah, absolutely. And worth noticing as well, B-Boy are running Mama's Squeeze, so that star power difference. SK Miracle running Mama's Hug. So basically, SK Miracle will have additional healing for every shot that Lil Giant lands, and a Chappie will be using his healing station as actually damage against SK Miracle. If they were to get inside that radius, they will be taking damage, and that was what Moding was suffering from and not able to heal up as a result from in that exchange. But now the ball is centered, and both teams looking to get their supers, and it's SK Miracle that are off to a great start in order to get those on the way. As Stubby misses a super as well. A good chance here then for SK Miracle if they can continue this assault.
Oh, nice job there. Stabbing deep into the enemy base, but that Mama Squeeze is going to deny Woohyuk. Really great choice on that star power for B-Boy. That Mama Squeeze working extremely well, especially against close range brawlers like Mortis and brawlers like Pam, who really would prefer to get up close and personal, but don't have that option when the damage is ticking off so heavily against them. B-Boy coming in for a dominant chance again at scoring, and there it goes, drilling it past that last line of defense. B-Boy have done it. The 2-0 scoreline on this Brawl Ball game gets them the first set victory.